So how long does it take to get surplus funds? Well, like any good lawyer, the first thing I'm going to tell you, well, it depends. So you might ask, well, what's it depend on, Bob? What it depends on is, first of all, whether you're dealing with a mortgage or a tax foreclosure, and secondly, just how quickly that county runs. There are a few, typically small counties, that it's like a same-day process. You put the request, they check the records, they give you a check. That is not at all typical. More typical is between 3.5 and 4.5 months is a more typical range of time. And that, of course, can vary too, depending if there are complexities of the case, which I'll get into. But assume for business planning purposes that it's 3, 4, 5 months, somewhere in there. And I know that that may not sound great, but you need to think about this as a business person. What I do as a business person in the excess funds or surplus funds business is I build a pipeline of deals. I put my deals in the pipeline, they work their way down the pipeline, and then they spill out at the other end. Some a little faster, some a little bit slower. But what I want to do is constantly work on building my pipeline. And on average, if you put in 2 or 3 deals a month into your pipeline, a couple months later, 2 or 3 deals a month start falling out, and that becomes very steady. So you put them in here, they march down and they come out here. So whatever your rate is, you put in 2 or 3 a month, you'll get 2 or 3 a month out. And the way I like to think about it is in terms of gross amount of dollars under contract. So if I had $100,000 worth of deals under contract every month, well, come down the road, I'm going to get 30 to 40% of that out every month. So if I had 100,000 here, it marches down, I get 30 to 40,000 out here. And if I'm always loading 100,000 a month in, then kind of the route is 100,000 in, 30 to 40 out, 100,000 in, 30 to 40 out. And if I do it every month, I know that it's steady. So I actually like that part of the business because I can build up a pipeline and then I can go on vacation. I can take Christmas off. I don't have to feel like, I'm hand to mouth where I catch something today and I eat it today. Instead, I'm catching things, they're maturing over 3 to 4 months, kind of like a farmer plants his seeds. I get the harvest 3 or 4 months later. So that's probably the best way to think about it. So let's talk about tax foreclosures versus mortgage foreclosure surpluses. So a tax foreclosure in many places is a non-judicial, meaning doesn't involve court process. So there, you're generally applying for the money with the government department that did the tax foreclosure, probably division of the tax collector's office. So that's not involving judges, not involving a backed up court system. So typically they get to those pretty quickly and start processing them. So those are going to be a little bit faster. The ones that are a court process, which is going to be all of the mortgage foreclosures are always in court, and some of the tax foreclosures are in court if that is a court process, meaning if, for example, the county sheriff is the one that holds the sale, that money is probably deposited in court. And there, you're going to have to file what's called a petition, which is a fancy word for request for something from a judge. You file a petition and then it gets scheduled for an eventual hearing and then a judge makes a decision. Generally, if you file a petition today, I have to serve notice on all other parties. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to get an initial hearing date probably, 60 days later. So I'll get my initial hearing date, and that's a scheduling hearing, and then maybe I'm getting a final hearing 2 months after that. So I'm out a total of 4 months until I get a decision. That's probably typical with the judicial system. Now, some kinds of deals take longer. So if you're working in this business and you're going to be doing deals that are estates, for example, where the person died, that's why the house got lost, and you have to open up an estate and then process a claim, that's going to add time. And if you have bickering heirs, it adds even more time. So estates are the ones that tend to take longer. If you're dealing with still living former owners who are all there, it's quicker. So look for complications like having an estate, and that's going to set you back a couple of months. But mostly think about this business as a pipeline business, where you're just putting things in the pipeline. Because I can tell you that all businesses take time to become profitable. And the excess funds business is better than most. Because there we don't have to order inventory from China, wait for it to get shipped across the ocean and get through the port and then distributed. Instead, we just call someone up, get them to sign up, put in the paperwork, and our timer is started. It's really a quicker business. And your sales, I don't have to figure out a good ad to put on TV or radio or Google AdWords or Facebook or YouTube or something like that. Instead, I just get my lists, I call people and put deals under contract. That doesn't take no time, but it's a lot quicker than running a Google AdWords campaign. Trust me on that. So this can be a very solid, good business as long as you take it seriously. It's not going to respond to just a casual, inconsistent effort. And the effort that you need to focus on in the business of excess funds is reaching out to prospective claimants, asking if they want your help with this money that you found, and the people that do, sign them up and get those claims in. That's where to focus. Where I see people that struggle is they focus on doing other things, like I'm going to make the world's most perfect logo. I'm going to make an amazing website. And they do those kinds of things, but they're not actually doing what's going to move their business forward, which is just reaching out to claimants, sending them letters, calling them on the phone, having discussions with them, following up with them. In sales, follow-up is where the money is, and you have to follow up with people. Most people aren't going to decide on the first phone call. This isn't a penny stock that's supposed to be soaring that afternoon. This is an opportunity to do a process to go get them a large windfall of money. And most people need a little time to adapt to that idea that there is a possibility for them to get money, to get used to you and say, that guy or that woman seems okay, and I can't believe I'd be owed any money, but they're willing to do it on a contingent fee basis I don't have to give them any money up front. They just get paid if and when they're successful. It takes people a while to come up with their questions, to talk to you, get used to you, and you have to have conversations with them, and then you can be really successful in this business. So I would encourage you at this point, if you're newer to the business, just focus on getting the business running, doing the steps, and committing yourself to process, because process is where your success is. Now, if you want to know more about the Overages business, I recorded an intro to the Overages business video. You can see a link to that down below. That's right here on YouTube. That's completely free. You can dive into that and learn a lot more about the business, and I have further educational resources after that, but that would be a great place to start. I'd also encourage you and tell you this is a great business. My Overages business is the favorite business I've ever had. I've had many businesses. It is my favorite because I get to help people who are completely down and out, struggling, having a hard time, and I help them by bringing them a big windfall of unexpected money, and I make great money myself. And to me, what could be better than that? Helping people and making money, that is absolutely the best business that I could have. So you're definitely on the right track if you want to help people and make money. So if you are, click on the video down below. And if you have follow-up questions, you want to learn more, then I'd say two things. One, subscribe to my channel, because this channel, I talk about overages and excess funds and tax sales and tax liens and tax deeds, because that's the world that I'm in. That's what I've been inhabiting for many years. Really enjoy and really love teaching and sharing. So subscribe. If you're interested in going a little further down the path with excess funds and overages, click on that video. And if you have questions, put them down below. My staff and I go through the questions, we look at the comments, and we come up with new video ideas, because if a couple of people are asking a question, I'm like, hey, that's a great question. Let me answer that for people. So you ask a question, maybe the next time I'm talking to this camera, I'll be talking to you, answering your question. I'd love for that to be the case. So put your question down below and I'll see what I can do for you. So this is attorney and investor Bob Diamond. It's been great being here with you today. Click on the link down below and I will see you over at the intro to the Overages business video.